And once again, Mouthpiece is in, cup check time, hard knocks and cheap shots.
CM Punk, once again, you're going to break the internet one time wasn't enough, so you got to do it a second time. The news now breaking all over the world right now that CM Punk, former 5-time WWE champion, now signing with UFC. News broke over the weekend at UFC 181. Ed, I think opinions have been flying everywhere on this, but where do you stand?
Well, number one, if I'm Robbie Lawler, who just won the welterweight title, and if I'm Anthony Pettis, I'm a little angry right now because my shine's been taken away by the CM Punk news. It's amazing how it just overshadowed everything at the spot that I was watching at the minute. You know, everyone was like, CM Punk was on TV, and everyone was like, yay. And then as soon as it was announced that he was signing with UFC, everyone was like, what? I get it for Dana White. It's a guy that's going to put butts in the seat. It's a guy, considering that their pay-per-view sales have been lagging a little bit over the last year, it gives them a little energy boost. However, I don't get it for CM Punk. He's going to get hurt, which is fine. I mean, it's his choice, his career. He can do what he wants. But he, as far as I know, he has no combat sport experience. He's going in this as a newbie. I mean, we've seen this before with Herschel Walker do it. We've seen this before with, Kimbo Slice. That's where I put it right now, as just an attraction. Nothing more, nothing less.
Well, see, now, I think that's a little bit slightly unfair there because, I mean, granted, we have seen professional wrestlers venture into MMA before, and, you know where I'm going with this. I'm looking at Brock Lesnar. I'm looking also at Bobby Lashley, 12-2, and granted, there's a huge size difference between those guys and CM Punk, but we have seen the successful crossover transition in the past, so if it worked for those guys, considering, all things considered, I don't see, why it couldn't work for a guy like CM Punk.
Well, it can't work because Brock Lesnar was 106-5, a runner-up NCAA champion, and an NCAA champion his senior year at Minnesota. He was also almost made the Olympic team. Same thing with Bobby Lashley. He's an accomplished wrestler. He has combat sport experience. Whether it's apples and oranges to compare this. It's more, again, I can't help thinking this is Kimbo Slice all over again. And for UFC, I mean, I get it. You're trying to prevent CM Punk, who's a known name brand, from going to Bellator or the World Series of Fighting, so you lock him up. But this isn't no better than Kimbo Slice joining UFC. And I'll go even one better. Ben Askren was told, you don't have enough experience. Ben Askren, who is a Bellator champion and an Olympic champion, was told, you don't have enough experience, but Phil Brooks does? This guy went to the Olympics. So again, to compare Brock and CM Punk, it's apples and oranges.
See, I can understand how these are two different athletes here, but at the same time, CM Punk has practiced Muay Thai kickboxing. He has practiced Kempo, a background in there. He's trained with the Gracies. So there's already some sort of fundamental in there. There's something for him to work with. So that means that now all you need to do really at this point, so they're not throwing him into the lions then right off the bat like they were with Brock. So I think that there's room here for where he can grow, potentially, he can improve, and then if it does work out, then it's best for both sides. For CM Punk, it means a bigger payday. For UFC, it means another huge attraction. I think that it's in both of their interests where if this works out, this is going to be one of the best for business for everybody.
Here's my question, though. He doesn't have a weight class. There's rumors he's going to go at 175. That's Robbie Lawler and Johnny Hendricks territory. Now, if you watch UFC 181, these guys bring thunder. How is a guy that was complaining about concussions in WWE going to even handle guys like that in that division? Another thing, who's his team? He doesn't have a team yet. Sure, he's been training with the Gracies. Is he going to the top team? Is he going to go to the Black Zillions? There's so many questions about this. Again, if you treat this as what it is, a special attraction, I'm okay with this. But otherwise than that, it's just a way to boost up pay-per-view sales. Nothing more, nothing less. Don't get me wrong, I'm a huge CM Punk mark since Ring of Honor. But that said, I hope he don't get hurt. I like the guy. I wish him the best. I really do.
Right, and speaking of other guys who are pay-per-view draws, word has it now that The Undertaker has been officially added to the roster at Wrestlemania 31's in their advertising campaign. But here's my thing now. Basically, the streak is over. So, the big attraction, obviously, with every WrestleMania beforehand where Dead Man was involved was who's going to beat the streak. Now that that's off the table, then why add him in there? What's that?
See, I'm still not sold he's in. From what I understand, he's seen in a lot of the advertising campaign. A lot of this stuff is planned months ahead of time. Maybe he'll be there, maybe he won't. I don't think he will, to be honest.
But if he is, though, who would he face? Would it be Sting?
Have to be Sting. Have to be somebody his age. I'm sorry. I mean, who else is going to get in the ring with? Brock Lesnar? Come on. He's going to get killed again. He's going to get mauled. I mean, I can't think of anyone else other than Sting that he would get in the ring for. And even that, again, we go back to that word, special attraction. With the streak over, it now becomes one of those things of, the icon Sting versus the icon Undertaker. For Sting, it's the first time he'll ever compete in the WWE ring and on the grandest stage of them all, as they say. So other than that, I don't really see a reason. I think Undertaker should hang him up.
Moving on to boxing, Miguel Cotto and Canelo-Alvarez are set to fight each other next May, but now that apparently there's some issues between the two tables right now, and according to Juan Marquez, thinks that Cotto should pretty much give in to those demands.
Well, here we go again. The Mayweather term, Table A. Canelo thinks that he's Table A, can set the pace of negotiations. Not everyone can demand 75% of the purse like Mayweather can. And in this case, Canelo really needs to stay in his lane and realize that really he's a draw, but Cotto at the end is just as much of a draw as he is at this point of his career. I think he needs to beat guys like Cotto in order to become Table A. I agree with Juan Manuel Marquez. He really should stay in his lane and not even so much give in to Cotto. I feel like that's the wrong wording. It's more about compromise. 50-50 split doesn't sound unreasonable considering the stages of their careers.
No, certainly not. But now here's my question, though. With obviously Mayweather loves to fight on that particular date. Now, people have been talking that potentially a Cotto versus Alvarez fight could possibly outdraw that. What do you think?
Outdraw? I mean, it depends. They're talking about holding the fight at Texas Stadium, AT&T Stadium, whatever it's being called now. Where Mayweather would have to fight we would usually fight in Vegas, MGM Grand. He's pretty much fights there most of his fights. I think where it hurts Mayweather a little bit is going to be pay-per-view sales. I mean, what is it, $70 for HD TV to get a pay-per-view as far as boxing? Yeah. If he fights a guy like Amir Khan, do I really want to watch two guys bob and weave for 12 rounds? Or do I want to watch two guys the Mexican style, #Mexican style, as we keep talking about? Two guys are going to go in the ring and bang, pretty much. They're going to, they're heavy hitters. They like to go in there and mix it up. It's all going to come down to styles make the fight. Do you want to watch the American style of making people miss, or do you want to watch guys bang? Me personally, for my money, I'm watching Canelo versus Cotto. That's just me because I like to see an action-packed fight. I don't want to see the science of the sport. So.
Right. Well, we got a couple of months left before that big weekend, so a lot of time is going to tell a lot of all this. So. And that wraps up this edition of Hard Knocks and Cheap Shots. Remember to tune in next week for more and to continue the conversation. Remember to log on to LatinPost.com. I'm John Paul Salamanca, this is Evan Molina, and we are Punching Out.